Hey, everyone, welcome back to our journey through history. Today we're going back in time to learn about a super important period called the Industrial Revolution. This era was a turning point in history, marking the transition from manual production methods to more efficient machine-driven processes. It all started way back in the 1700s and went on until the 1800s. During this time, many significant changes took place that would shape the future of human civilization. Back then, life was pretty different. Most people lived in rural areas and worked in agriculture or small-scale crafts. People made things by hand with simple tools. Artisans and craftsmen were highly skilled, but production was slow and labor-intensive. Things moved at a slower pace. Transportation was limited to horse-drawn carriages and walking, making travel and trade much slower than what we're used to today. But the Industrial Revolution changed everything. With the invention of steam engines and other machinery, production processes became faster and more efficient. Suddenly there were amazing new machines, big factories popped up, and mass production became the norm. This led to the growth of industries such as textiles, iron and coal mining. People started working in totally new ways. Instead of working from home or in small workshops, many people moved to cities to work in large factories. Life became much faster and, well, a bit more complicated. Urbanization increased as people flocked to cities in search of jobs, leading to crowded living conditions and new social challenges. It all began in Great Britain, which had the perfect conditions for industrial growth, including natural resources, a stable political environment, and a culture of innovation. And then it spread to other countries like America and all over Europe. Each region adapted the new technologies and methods to fit their own needs and resources. This era totally changed the world, transforming economies, societies, and even the environment. The advancements made during the Industrial Revolution laid the groundwork for the modern world we live in today, and we still see its effects today. From the way we work to the technology we use, the Industrial Revolution's impact is all around us. It's a fascinating period that reminds us of the power of innovation and change. So what kind of new machines are we talking about? The Industrial Revolution brought about a wave of innovation that changed the way we produce goods forever. These machines were not just improvements, they were revolutionary. They transformed industries and laid the groundwork for the modern world we live in today. Well, one of the most important ones was the spinning jenny, invented by a clever guy named James Hargreaves. The spinning jenny was a multi-spindle spinning frame, and it dramatically increased the amount of yarn that could be produced by a single worker. This was a huge leap forward in textile manufacturing. This machine could spin tons of thread at the same time, making cloth making super speedy. Imagine going from spinning one spool of thread at a time to handling 8 or more spools simultaneously. It was like going from a bicycle to a car in terms of productivity. Before that, people had to spin thread by hand, which took forever. Hand spinning was labor-intensive and time-consuming. It required a lot of skill and patience, and even then the output was minimal. The spinning jenny changed all that, making it possible to produce yarn in much larger quantities and at a much faster rate. Another game changer was the steam engine, made even better by James Watt. The steam engine was initially developed by Thomas Newcomen, but it was James Watt who made significant improvements that increased its efficiency and practicality. Watt's enhancements allowed the steam engine to be used in a variety of industries, not just mining. This engine used steam to power machines, meaning factories no longer had to be built next to rivers. Before the steam engine, factories relied on water wheels for power, which limited their locations to places near rivers or streams. With the advent of the steam engine, factories could be built anywhere, leading to the growth of industrial cities. These new machines were put in factories, which were huge buildings, where lots of people worked. Factories became the centers of production, employing hundreds, sometimes thousands of workers. They were designed to house large machines and facilitate mass production. Factories could make things quickly and cheaply, which was a big deal compared to making things by hand. The efficiency of factories meant that goods could be produced on a much larger scale and at a lower cost. This not only made products more affordable, but also spurred economic growth and development. The rise of factories marked the beginning of a new era in manufacturing and set the stage for the modern industrial economy. Let's talk more about that steam engine. The steam engine was one of the most revolutionary inventions of the Industrial Revolution. It transformed industries and changed the way people lived and worked. Before the steam engine, most machinery was powered by water, wind, or human and animal labor. But the steam engine changed all that. It was really important, and James Watt made it even better. James Watt, a Scottish inventor and mechanical engineer, improved the design of the steam engine in the late 18th century. His enhancements made the steam engine more efficient and powerful, which allowed it to be used in a wider range of applications. Watt's improvements included a separate condenser, which significantly increased the engine's efficiency. It could power all kinds of machines. Factories began to use steam engines to power their machinery, which led to increased production and efficiency. The steam engine could drive all sorts of industrial machines, from textile looms to metalworking tools. This mechanization of production processes was a key factor in the rapid industrialization of many countries. Factories started using them, and suddenly they could be built anywhere, not just by rivers. Before steam engines, factories had to be located near rivers to use water power. But with steam engines, factories could be built in more convenient locations, closer to raw materials, labor, and markets. This flexibility helped spur the growth of cities and industrial centers. But the steam engine didn't just change factories, it changed transportation too. The steam engine was adapted for use in transportation, leading to the development of steam locomotives and steamboats. These new modes of transport revolutionized travel and trade, making it faster and more efficient to move goods and people over long distances. Steamboats and steam trains were invented, and they were way faster than anything before. Steamboats could travel upstream against strong currents, and steam trains could travel overland at unprecedented speeds. This opened up new possibilities for commerce and communication, connecting distant regions and fostering economic growth. This made it easier to move stuff and people around, which was a huge change. The ability to transport goods and people quickly and efficiently had a profound impact on society. It facilitated the movement of raw materials to factories and finished products to markets, and it allowed people to travel for work, leisure, and migration. The steam engine truly transformed the world in countless ways. Before the Industrial Revolution, most people lived in the country and worked on farms, growing their own food. Life was tough, but simple. The Industrial Revolution changed that. Factories needed workers, so people moved to the cities to find jobs. This was a big adjustment. They had to get used to working in factories and living in cities. Life was different, but also exciting, with lots of new opportunities. The cities grew super fast during the Industrial Revolution. People came from the countryside looking for work, and even from other countries. This made cities really crowded. There weren't enough houses, so people lived in small, cramped spaces. Things weren't very clean either. Life in the cities could be tough, but it was also a time of big changes. New ideas were everywhere, and people started wanting better lives. The Industrial Revolution connected the world in new ways. Faster transportation, like steamboats and steam trains, meant it was easier to trade goods between countries. People could travel more easily too, seeing new places and experiencing different cultures. There were even new ways to communicate. The telegraph was invented so people could send messages quickly across long distances. The world was starting to feel smaller. The Industrial Revolution had a big impact on the environment, though. Factories burned coal to power their machines, which caused a lot of air pollution. Cities were filled with smoke. Factories also dumped waste into rivers and streams, polluting the water. People didn't really understand how this was hurting the environment back then. The Industrial Revolution brought progress, but it also came at a cost. Even today, we're still dealing with the effects of pollution from that time. The Industrial Revolution was a time of huge change, progress, and challenges. It changed the world forever. New machines, factories, bigger cities, a more connected world. It was a turning point in history. It marked the beginning of the modern world, leading to many things we take for granted today, like cars, airplanes, and computers. It all started with the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution had a lasting impact. It changed how we live and work, leading to new technologies and industries. But it also led to new social problems, like pollution, poverty, and inequality, which we're still dealing with today. But the Industrial Revolution also showed us how innovative and progressive humans can be. It showed us that we can change the world with our ideas and hard work. It was a pivotal time, and it's important to remember it.